All right, we've been there, we've done that. You know what our purpose is here on the weekend edition.
Wake your drunk ass up, bitch.
Saturday morning, the girl didn't want your number. She didn't swipe the right way.
You didn't find anybody on the bathroom wall.
You got home, you threw up. Now you're a mess. Your head is aching. So what you need is some rock and roll, some music news, some TV and streaming, and some movie news with your best buddies on Saturday morning. He's a conquistador, Dave Height.
He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
Yes, that it is time for the weekend edition of Sports Frenzy 2.0. Taping here on the 15th of March. This will hit as your Saturday morning hangover cure on the 18th. And as always, we start off with rock and roll, but we're going to have a little bit of fun this week. Like we don't always have fun.
Mix it up a little bit here for you.
Don't have an album review. Don't have a concert review. Although Dave will catch up here at the end on Godsmack.
Yep, and we'll have a little discussion, I'm sure.
But what we've got are 5 songs. Now, I talked about one of them last week. But Dave needs to get his 2 cents in on Extreme, their new single, Rise, and 4 new songs that we have not talked about yet here on the weekend edition. Metallica, If Darkness Had a Sun. New Rival Sons, Bird in the Hand. Winger, Proud Desperado, and Billy Squier.
What?
First song in 25 years. First new song from Billy Squier, Harder on a Woman. So what we're going to do, we're going to discuss the songs, but Dave is going to rank them from his favorite to his least favorite, and then we will compare our rankings for you. Because these are 5 very important songs. Very important songs. Again,
they are.
First new song from Billy Squier in 25 years. First new song from Winger in, I believe, 7 years. Third single from Rival Sons off their upcoming album, Dark Fighter. Third single from Metallica off the upcoming 72 Seasons. And, of course, the first song from Extreme in 15 years. So there you go.
There you go. First 2 are going to kind of almost be like 1A, 1B because
We're going to start from the top and go down.
Or do you want to go bottom up? Let's go bottom up.
That's what she said, yeah.
But I'll bump.
Don't go ask them out. Don't go ask them out, Dave.
Starts. Never mind.
He just made a hand gesture. It's a podcast. He's making hand gestures here.
She went up slow and easy.
Okay, Mr. Coverdale.
All right, we will begin with my lowest ranked song. That would be Billy Squier's new one, Harder on a Woman. Did not. Why do you have to do the little vocal, the talky things at the beginning to introduce a song?
Harder on a woman.
Harder on a woman. No, just stop. And
I'm gonna chalk that up to the fact that it's been 25 years.
But come on, he knows what he's doing.
And he sounds great. He does.
Vocally, he sounds incredible.
In his 70s, he sounds just like he did back in the 80s.
Yeah. So this is kind of, he's still got that 80s vibe going with kind of the bluesy riff, which seems to be a theme coming out with a lot of the stuff. They're going more the bluesy road. But the social commentary kind of gets a little, he's trying to be up on everything that's going on.
Well, the song he was inspired, from what I read, by the whole Roe versus Wade controversy. So, and unfortunately, as much as I love Billy Squier, He
Stay
said
out
he
of
had,
the politics.
He said he had a Neil Young moment. And it's like, oh God, Billy, don't go there.
Don't go there.
I love you so much. You meant so much to me in high school. But Don't Say No. I don't want to hear that from you.
Yeah, outside the social commentary and the lame ass intro, it did have a catchy refrain. It had its moments, but it still lacked that Squier touch.
Little too long.
Yes.
6 minutes is a little too long.
For him, that's way too long.
A little repetitive.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a moment as they loop back around, you do your verse, chorus, refrain, all that stuff, where I'm waiting for the punch. I'm waiting, and they go into the quiet keyboards.
It's like you had your moment.
You need the guitars. You needed to jack the guitars up there and really give it a punch, and they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm giving him a break because it's been 25 years.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
But now, if it makes you feel good, makes you feel better, I completely agree. Out of the 5 songs, that would be number 5 for me.
Yeah, this is
even though I didn't hate it, I thought it was fine.
Hate it. It was again okay,
great. It was again great to hear him.
It's a weak 2.5.
I would probably go a strong 2.5. Again, he sounds so good.
He sounds great,
and it just pisses me off because I want. He says maybe this is going to re-energize him and get the creative juices flowing again, but after 25 years, I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, seriously, you haven't done anything. You haven't even dinked around with stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, seriously. Everybody has stuff.
And everybody respects him. Everybody respects him.
I mean, my God, how many of his riffs are still in use through today?
Yep.
The royalties he's earning off that stuff.
Yeah. And I actually listened to, we'll talk about Extreme here in a minute. I actually listened to Eddie Trunk, his latest podcast episode, where he talked to not only Nuno Bettencourt, but Tom Morello. And they were both praising Billy Squier about how influential and I believe vastly overlooked he is.
So underrated for what he did, but influential. I mean, the stuff he did was incredible at the time. Setting the bar for rock.
Don't Say No was one of the top 5 rock albums of my high school years. It was. It was Shout at the Devil, Don't Say No, maybe 1984. That's how important his music was.
Oh, absolutely.
So again, great to hear his voice, but I agree with you. Probably a little bit underwhelming of an effort.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so what do you got for number 4?
Number 4, I am going to put the Rival Sons, Bird in the Hand. Again, a bluesy tune, almost a cross between the Doors and the Black Keys, is what it felt like. Kind of the lyrics and tone that you would get from Morrison and the Doors, but with the Black Keys kind of music backbeat vibe going.
That is not a bad analysis at all. That is a really, really astute analysis. This is where it gets hinky for me. It was easy for me to put Billy Squier at the bottom because it's got obvious flaws. Yeah. The other 4 songs,
it's so damn tight.
I think I'm going to agree with you, though. I think I am going to agree with you and say that 4th for me as well is Bird in the Hand. Even
it's
though
still I still think it's a 3.
Yes, it's a 3. Again, this is why I wanted to do this, is because these songs to me were all very close in terms of quality. So I agree. 3 for Bird in the Hand. I still think Dark Fighter, 3 songs in, is sounding like it's going to be a phenomenal album.
It should be really damn good.
Again, upset that they delayed it until June. But I agree with you completely. The little banjo intro was interesting. Yeah. The lyrics are really good. If you listen to the lyrics
that's
are really
why
good.
Lyrically, it really reminded me of what the Doors would have done.
Right. Yeah, I think you are spot on. I mean, that is a fantastic analysis. Black Keys and the Doors, I give you credit for that. That's fantastic. Can't go any better than that. But I will agree. Rival Sons 4th out of these 5 songs that we're reviewing.
Yep. All right, moving on. Number 3. If Darkness Had a Soul, Metallica.
Had a son.
Or If Darkness Had a Son. Yeah, sorry. It is Metallica. It was a little long. It's over 6 minutes. But it's what you expect from them.
I thought that this was the best of the 3 so far, coming from 72 seasons. Now, that being said, am I still... We talk about Rival Sons, and we were 3 songs in for Rival Sons and Dark Fighter. I'm much more optimistic about that album
than
I am with Metallica.
Metallica's second song wasn't that strong.
I think this is the best of the 3 so far. Lux Eterna was okay.
Yeah, but this is better than Lux Eterna.
I think this is the best of the 3.
Yeah,
I do.
Absolutely.
I do. This is a standard. I don't mean to say this as a negative. It's a standard Metallica song.
Metallica.
This is a Metallica song.
It hits
Lars Ulrich drums.
The drums
very hard.
Are hard hitting. Guitar work, the bass also hit you where it needs to. And the vocals are spot on with what it needs to be.
Yep.
This was the package from Metallica.
Yeah.
And I'm giving this one a solid 3.
I'm giving it a solid 3 as well. It is, again, a showcase for Metallica. Standard, not saying that as a negative, standard Metallica song. But again, Lars Ulrich, get the drums going. It's got the it's got that
Kirk Hammett, the Metallica
it's got
drive.
That Kirk Hammett, driving guitar riff. James Hetfield, of course, doing his best with the angst.
Yeah. No, it's very, very solid.
Yep. Here's the thing. I'll put it at 2.
Ooh, intriguing.
I have it at 2. A solid 3. I have If Darkness Had a Son at 2. You have it at 3. So I have a feeling maybe what your 2 is.
Potentially at number 2, I have Proud Desperado from Winger,
which is my number 3. Yes.
There you go.
Not the catchiest chorus.
It's not the catchiest chorus, but I like the storytelling behind it.
Yes. And if you see the video, if you watch the video, which I did for the first time today on YouTube, they're tying this into the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. So
there you go.
It gives it some gravitas.
It does. It's got a nice hard rockin' beat to it.
Yes.
Love it. They sound fantastic.
Yep, the whole band back. Reb Beach is back after his.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll jump back to Whitesnake if they're going to finish up their farewell tour. But good to see Reb Beach back with Winger.
Yeah. No, this was really good. Very, very good 3, borderline 3.5 for me.
Yep. For me, strong 3. Again, I barely put Metallica ahead. But this was definitely not discouraging from Winger. Great to finally have new music from Winger.
Very good.
Oh my God, it's just so great to have them back. And again, I bitch and I piss and I moan because I want new music. And the fact that it's taken this long and after two great albums.
Yes. And they've come back rocking out.
Yep.
I just hope the rest of the album rocks and they don't go the wishy-washy way that we've seen some other bands.
Right.
But another one that we will touch on.
The thing that was encouraging about Winger is when they started to take that path. You know, of course, the first couple albums, they were an 80s hair band.
Right.
17, Madeline, you know, they had the power ballads and they did all the poofy hair.
Did what you needed to do.
Right.
And then reset.
Then the third album, they started to go a different way. And in the fourth album, Kip Winger, of course, started to bring his military background in.
Yeah.
And that has now formed a lot of the lyrics and a lot of the music that Winger has done since then.
It's made them stronger, though.
But then they had that run of 2 albums with Karma and Better Days Coming, which were phenomenal albums.
Incredible.
And you cannot call them the butt of Beavis and Butthead jokes anymore.
No.
They are a serious rock band now, better than most out there.
Absolutely.
And Proud Desperado reinforces the path that they're going on.
Yeah. I look forward to the new album.
Yeah. So we're not that far off.
No.
We're not that far off.
And a common number one.
Well, yeah, I got to admit, I'm biased, giddy, like a little schoolgirl when I heard this song.
Rise
Nuno
from
Betancourt,
extreme.
Nuno Betancourt, and again, I talked about this song last week. Nuno Betancourt channeling Eddie Van Halen on this song. We both think Extreme is vastly underrated in the pantheon of bands. They should be considered up there with the best of the best.
Yeah, and this song shows that they should be up there with the best of the best.
Yeah. Now, see, this is the thing. All these songs that we've talked about here this week, I have looked forward to. I have been anticipating, if not the album, like with Metallica or Rival Sons, Billy Squier, finally hearing back from Billy Squier, finally hearing Winger after 7 years. Same thing with Extreme, but this song to me was different. This song is like a level above.
It is. This is a 3.5. This hits lyrically, musically, vocally. This is the apex of the 5. Hands down.
I went higher. I went 4. I think this is by far the best song of the year so far.
You could easily talk me into a 4 on it.
Yeah, 3 months in, easily the best song of the year. Easily the best song of the year.
Oh,
and
hands
like you
down.
said, the lyrics are great because they trick you. You think Rise, you think, oh, this is going to be an inspirational song. If you see the video, there's religious imagery. And then you hear Gary Sharon talking about pick you up and tear you down. And then Nuno just tearing everything apart with the guitar solo.
It's the complete package.
This is the rock and roll we've been waiting for. This is what all these other bands should be aspiring to be.
You hear that, Godsmack?
Yeah.
Oh,
Dave
but wait.
We'll get to that in a second here. So we agree. So we agreed for the most part.
Yep.
Out of the 5 songs we reviewed this week, Dave playing catch up with Extreme, but both agree, number 1, Rise.
Yep. 2 and 3 flip-flopped, and it's very close.
Yep.
Very
I've
close.
got Metallica, If Darkness Had a Sun at number 2. Dave's got that at 3. Winger, Proud Desperado. Dave's got it 2. I've got it 3.
Rival Sons 4 and Billy Squier 5. But definitely check them all out. They are worthwhile.
And that was the thing. That's why I wanted to kind of do this this week, this way, is because these songs are all important, great to have this kind of rock and roll back again. All these bands, iconic 80s, 90s, into the 2000s, new stuff with Rival Sons, newer bands, older voices with Billy Squier.
Very, very good stuff.
All right, so let's finish catch-up.
Catch-up time. Godsmack's Lighting Up the Sky. 11 songs. Not their strongest outing. Yeah, they didn't have it with this album.
Now, I mentioned last week when I reviewed it that you and I had discussed it. We kind of listened to it, and discussed it a little bit a couple weeks ago when it first came out, and we agreed that beginning and ending, awesome.
Yeah, you and I, good opener, very good opener. Red, White, and Blue was okay. I love Surrender, one of my top ones on there. What About Me is all right. Truth should have been left off.
Well, we talked about the piano songs.
Yeah, that was the weakest one on there. Then Hell's Not Dead was all right. I actually kind of like Soul on Fire.
Soul on Fire was
that
good.
Was a very good one. Let's Go. Best of Times, Growing Old. That run of 3 was okay. Not phenomenal. But then the title track, Lighting Up the Sky. Freaking phenomenal end. I think probably my favorite on the album.
Yeah, see, I would be close to you with that. I like you and I think a little bit more than you do.
Yeah.
So I love the beginning and the ending.
But the two of them together,
bookending the album.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it works positively to a point and negatively because it exposes the weakness of the middle.
Everything in between. Yeah.
Again, the slower stuff with the piano, I don't need that from a band like Godsmack. I really don't.
Yeah. Overall, I give it a 2.5.
That's what I gave it. Yep.
So not their best outing.
No, not their worst.
Not
which is
their
sad
worst.
Because you and I talked about, a couple albums from the recent past that weren't all up to snuff either.
Yeah. They've got a couple here that are good.
I could play this in the background as you.
Right.
I love how you use that as a measuring stick.
Yes.
I will listen to the
background album
as you sit there and you construct Noah's Ark or whatever next project you've got going on.
Working on the half bath in the basement to complement the game room.
Yep. So we're pretty simpatico. A little bit of difference on Winger and Metallica, but overall,
pretty damn close.
An extreme rocks.
Extreme. God, I hope they tour. I want to see them again.
Yep. I've been keeping an eye out. I'm keeping an eye out. Now, Winger is out on tour, but not going to be near us.
Oh, bastards.
Yep. They are out there on a triple bill. I can't remember who they're with, but they're not going to be anywhere near us. So
damn it. Not yet. We will wait.
Yep. So there you go, kids. Rock and roll. Segment 1 done here on the weekend edition. Don't know what we're going to review next week. I have no idea.
We'll figure something out. We always do.
Yep. But 5 great songs for you guys to check out. Again, Rival Sons, Metallica, Winger, Billy Squier, and, of course, Gary Cherone, Newton Betancourt, and Extreme. Now, coming up next, we're going to talk about the Oscars. Dave is going to give you a story time, and he is going to give you a book review. As I sit back and enjoy a segment where I don't have to do much of nothing.
There you go.
So next segment, Dave takes over. Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition. We'll be right back. Stuck in a no-win situation? Wife being held captive while your feet bleed? Take a second to decompress. Pull out your smartphone and listen to Sports Frenzy 2.0 on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. And don't forget to check out their Facebook page. The Maestro and the Conquistador will take your mind off your dire predicament and give you the best non-PC sports commentary you'll find anywhere. And once you compose your exit strategy and take down some German terrorists, you'll want to yell, "Yippee-ki-yay, Sports Frenzy 2.0!
Welcome back, kids, to Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Amazon, Audible, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, and Stitcher! I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
And I am the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
And segment 2 here as we record March 15th, 2023, dropping Saturday morning, March 18th. Happy birthday to my wife, Mrs. C.
That is right, it's Mrs. C's birthday today.
Woohoo! All right, it is Oscar review time.
Now, first and foremost, kids, keep in mind, we're not going to review the show because neither one of us watched it. I haven't watched an Oscar telecast in at least 6 or 7 years.
I haven't watched an Oscar telecast in the last 20 years.
Now, I will say this. Back when I lived in Florida, late 90s, early 2000s, back when the Oscars were still somewhat fun.
Before they got politicized?
Yeah, they weren't as pretentious. We would go to parties. We would do like Oscar pools and have a blast, throw some money in. Back when it was fun. Of course, again, as Dave alluded to,
Hollywood sucked the fun out of everything.
Just like they always do. But I think it would be appropriate for us to discuss some of the winners, some of the movies that we've watched, how they stack up. Now, number one, Dave and I have both we reviewed The Banshees of Inisherin. Did not win a single award.
Which is a shame because it was a damn good movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. How rare is it after the years that you have listened to me rant about movies like Nomadland, where we actually had some movies here this year up for Best Picture, Top Gun Maverick, where they had redeeming qualities.
They did.
Even Elvis, even though the movie wasn't great, I think Austin Butler as Elvis
did a pretty damn good job.
Right. So at least this year, you get some semblance of a feel-good story.
Yeah, I think this year I've watched more of the nominated movies than I have in the last 10 combined. Because usually if, it's up for an Oscar, forget it. Because it's going to be pretentious crap.
Yes. And usually that is the case. And that's the thing. This year, maybe finally they figured out that we didn't want the political agendas jammed down our throats.
Gee, there's a shock.
Now, of course, the big 6 awards are Best Picture, Best Director, Actor, Actress, Supporting Actor, Supporting Actress. And of course, they don't want those categories anymore because it's not fair.
When?
We should just make it non-binary, or whatever.
Just shut the hell up.
That being said, 5 of those 6 categories went to Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
And now, actually, this is still on my list to watch.
At some point, I think what Dave and I are going to do is we're going to give you a review of that movie. Me for the second time, him for the first time, and compare notes. Because I have been saying for months and months since I watched it the first time, I need to watch it again. It is that kind of movie. It is busy. It is crazy. It has got so much going on in it that the first time I watched it.
Oh, it's got Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Why, yes, Dave. Yes, it does. But again, much, much more impressive than most of the crap that we're subjected to.
Like in a bucket.
I'm trying to get away from that. I am trying to move past that. I really am. I don't want to keep going back to Nomadland, even though it was one of the worst movies ever made.
I'll take your word for that since I didn't see it. I still put that freaking damn dog movie as the worst thing I've seen.
That was better than... I'm telling you, that was much better. Because at least the ending redeemed it to a certain degree.
I'll take your word for it.
Not a great movie. I never said it was a great movie. But at least the ending redeemed. Nomadland was garbage. Hot garbage. Cooking on a dumpster in Arizona in the middle of July. Baby.
All right, but let's focus on this year. We've digressed onto a rabbit trail from
All right,
hell.
so we do in the one category that Everything Everywhere All at Once did not win. Congratulations to Brendan Fraser. Great to see him win.
Fucking A, that's fucking awesome that fucking Brendan Fraser fucking won the fucking Oscar. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about, he voices the robot Cliff in Doom Patrol on HBO Max, one of our favorite characters.
And, of course, was the star of the great cheesy action movies, the Mummy action movies.
Yep. George of the Jungle.
Bedazzled.
Encino Man.
Yep. So it was kind of nice to see him get his due. Now, some of the things I've heard about The Whale, I don't know if I want to watch it.
It's not my kind of movie.
I've heard it goes way too far over the top. Now, in the past, it kind of buys into the awards that have been given in the past, where it's always the disability or always the quirky, different character.
Yeah,
and that's all
the transformation of the actor into
all of this kind of balled up into one big tub of goo.
Literally in this instance.
Yeah, so I'm happy he won. I am happy. Yep. He is a redemption story.
He needed this for all the shit that he had gone through.
Right. And again, he has been a phenomenal presence in Hollywood movies. Popular, unpopular, big hits, small hits, no hits over the last 30 years or so.
Yep.
So, again, fucking A! As Cliff Steele would say. And it's, again, a shame that that's coming to an end.
Yes, Doom Patrol was brilliant.
Yep. And, of course, we've talked about how Brendan Fraser wants to get the Mummy franchise going again.
Yeah. Yep. He wants to come back as Rick O'Connell.
Yep. So
good for him on that.
Yep. And, of course, we can look at history and go, okay, this is kind of neat. We saw Brad Pitt won a couple years ago. Where's Tom Cruise? When is Tom Cruise? Is he ever going to win? Is Sylvester Stallone ever going to win? Are these other aging veterans of Hollywood ever going to win their Oscar?
We'll have to wait and see.
Very interesting.
Or are they going to wind up the Lifetime Achievement Oscar?
No, they don't do that. That's not the same prestige.
It's not.
It's not the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where they screwed Judas Priest.
Right.
Not the same. You got in the Academy Awards, I'll give them credit. You have got to win the award. The Lifetime Achievement Award doesn't mean shit.
No, it doesn't.
You've got to win the award for a movie, for a particular performance. Speaking of which, another little bit of nostalgic feel-good story here with the Best Supporting Actor. Our man from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
From the Goonies.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Oh, and also Encino Man.
Yes. Yes. A lot of connections to Encino Man. Yes. Pauly Shore was not up for an Oscar, by the way.
No, he was not. But alas, we have Ke-Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
So good for him.
He took back his quote unquote real name.
Yep.
For this role. And of course, but we know him and love him as Short Round.
Or Data.
Yes. Now, interesting, we go from supporting actor to supporting actress. Great again. Again, the Oscars, it seems like, tried to make this a feel-good award ceremony, a feel-good telecast. Jamie Lee Curtis finally wins an Oscar.
Yep. For what movie?
Everything
Everywhere All at Once.
Now, I will say this. And the rumors are out there. They have the video of Angela Bassett looking all angry and upset because she didn't win for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And of course, we can get into politics and we can get into all the shit about how certain groups think they're entitled now to win everything.
Sorry, Black Panther is not one of those movies that...
I actually saw both. And I will say, Jamie Lee Curtis put herself out there more. While I don't know if it was a great performance, I will give her credit for doing... You need to watch it. I say this
will
today
get there.
Because
it's not a typical Jamie Lee Curtis role.
She put herself out there in very less than glamorous positions in this movie. And I give her a ton of credit for being brave like that. Now, she does some other stuff where now she's getting a little bit too crazy, nutsy cuckoo with the PC stuff. And, I'm a mother of a trans woman, child, man, whatever. Okay, we loved you in Halloween. That's why we liked seeing you win. Is because we loved you in
Halloween and Trading Places and True Lies.
And True Lies, yes. Yes. We loved you, again, like Brendan Fraser. You are a pop culture movie icon. So we enjoy the fact that you're finally getting rewards from the snobs.
Yes.
From the arrogant assholes of Hollywood are finally forced to recognize that you are actually talented in not only serious roles, but of course, validating the mass appeal where we knew you from The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, from Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yep.
So again, this, in terms of the results for the Oscars, pretty encouraging. Pretty encouraging.
Not bad.
But again, I think Dave and I need to coordinate.
Yes, figure out when we are going to
do another review of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Him for the first time, me for the second time. And look back at it again and just reevaluate and see truly what we think of it.
Yep. From the movies we've seen, Ghost of Inisherin was phenomenal.
Yeah, and the thing is that movie, in terms of the acting, because it's not a big special effects action,
it's people living on an island, and it's all about the interaction of the characters and the actors portraying them.
Yes, and in terms of nominations, they nominated everybody. I mean, almost every major actor in that movie, actor or actress, got nominated, but nobody won. And I find that a little bit of a shame because it was really such a great movie. A little bit off kilter.
But it was phenomenal.
Yep.
You understood where all the characters were coming from in this insulated culture.
I agree. And again, I've watched both Banshees of Inisherin and Everything Everywhere All at Once. I like Banshees much better, but I feel like I've got to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once again.
We'll give it a shot.
There is
a fair comparison.
So much going on in that movie. Yeah, again with the whale. I mean, I've just heard stuff like he's eating pizza, dipping it in ranch dressing, and shoving it down his gullet, and it's just, I don't know. Doesn't sound like my cup of tea. Oh, by the way, Avatar: The Way of Water won for best visual effects.
Who cares?
Well, I think I'm going to go back and watch the first two Avatar movies.
And on that note,
if you haven't figured it out by now, Sports Frenzy 2.0 has an embargo on Avatar movies.
Damn straight. And I think it's story time.
Uncle Dave has got story time.
So, for you regulars, you may remember a while back, my youngest, Nick, and I watched Westworld. Great sci-fi movie from the 70s. Yul Brynner, Richard Harris, and Benjamin Harris.
And James Brolin.
Yeah, and James Brolin. No, it was Richard Harris.
Richard Benjamin.
No, Richard Benjamin. There we go. Confusing my actors in there. But future place, vacation area where the robots are there to interact with the people going, live out your fantasies in Westworld, Roman world, and medieval world. So shit hits the fan. Few years later, they resurrect to future world where they get everything worked out. All the bugs are worked out of the robots. So to try and get the public opinion back, they invite one of the more popular newspaper writers, played by Peter Fonda, Blythe Danner's character, who's a popular news anchor on TV. They're invited with all access to what's going on in future world.
And of course, you young kids out there, Blythe Danner is Gwyneth Paltrow's mother.
There you go. So, as you can imagine, they're hiding everything they possibly can. And Peter Fonda, of course, going everywhere he's not supposed to. Oh, good times, good times. Not to put too much of a spoiler on it, but come on. You know that they're going to clone the leaders of the world to try and take over. So will they or won't they make it out alive against their own clones?
Can you really give a spoiler for a movie that's been out for
forever?
40 plus
years? No. And Yul Brynner, of course, makes a reappearance as the gunslinger in a dream sequence. Alas, that was pathetic.
Yeah.
This does not hold a candle to the original. The original was far and away better. This is, again, a minor blip as an attempt for a sequel that fell flat.
And that's why
it didn't do anything.
For the most part, nobody remembers Future World.
Yeah.
Nobody says, when they talk about the Terminator, people will bring up T2, Judgment Day. Nobody ever brings up Future World when they talk about Westworld.
No. And there's a good reason for that.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
If you've got nothing, and I mean nothing better to do, you could do a double feature. But Westworld is a definite must because HBO created a series based on it because it was so damn good.
Yep. The whole idea behind that is one of the most creative, inventive ideas ever in motion picture history.
Yeah. And future worlds should have been left in the past.
How many frenzies?
1.5.
I think I went 2. I think I might go 2 on it, but not. Again, more sentimental reasons, I guess. Just
yeah, it would have been more for the sentiment, but just watching it and the discussion during it with Nick, the back and forth we had, it just there are parts that they could have done so much more. But it was kind of cool because as parts with the computer effects, it was the predecessor of 3D printing.
Yeah.
As they were making the masks for the new robots.
Yeah.
So taking the scans of the real people, and you saw how digitizing the faces, it was early 3D printing. So there you go. They did have that going for them. So.
All right, I got one little movie tidbit, and then Dave has got a book review. A new movie coming out, just starting to get ramped up into pre-production. Now, we talked about over the holiday season, we talked about how much you guys liked, you and Mrs. C and the boys liked Violent Night.
Yes.
So maybe now the traditional Hollywood movie for, Santa and everything's got to be nice and fluffy, and maybe that's gone. Maybe now we can actually start being a little subversive with Santa Claus. Because now we're going to get Dear Santa. Dear Santa is a collaboration, if you remember Shallow Hal.
Oh, God.
Dear Santa is a collaboration between Jack Black and the Farrelly brothers.
Oh, good God.
But I love the premise behind this. A young girl, one Christmas, transposes the letters in her note to Santa.
Dear Satan?
Yes. I do not know what, if he's playing dual roles, if Jack Black is playing Santa and Satan, but yes.
Oh, Lord.
The young girl writes a letter by accident to Satan for Christmas instead of Santa.
As long as Santa doesn't gargle mayonnaise, we'll be fine. Watch The Pick of Destiny, by the way, for that one.
But that one could be an interesting holiday movie. Probably we're looking at 2024 for that.
Very intriguing. All right. Moving on here with Literary Frenzy.
Paperback writer!
This week, Jeffrey Deaver's Hunting Time. This is the 4th book in the Coulter Shaw series that he's come up with. Shaw is a reward seeker who was raised by his parents who had been college professors, but his dad was a conspiracy theorist who stumbled upon something real, moved them all out into the backwoods and raised them as survivalists, teaching them how to survive anyway, any type of situation. So in this one, Shaw's hired to, as a reward seeker, anybody has looking for lost items, family members, any missing persons, he's there to try and help track it down. And he's hired to get back some new tech for a firm that's building a small nuclear power generator to provide electricity to third world nations. They have proprietary stuff to make it safe. So while working on that, he also winds up getting dragged into finding the firm's leading designer, who's taken off with her daughter to escape her ex-husband, who was early released from prison after abusing her, and among threats that he's out to kill her for ruining his life because he was a former policeman held in high regard in their town. Plot twists abound in this one. It moves at a really, really good pace. So how is this all going to come out with whatever conspiracies? Read Hunting Time to find out. This one's a 3. The Coulter Shaw series is pretty good. I like this series better than the Lincoln Rhyme Bone Collector. That gets a little bogged down at times. This one is fresh. It's a new idea for a character, somebody who's just looking to make money, make his living seeking rewards.
And we've seen
no
that.
ties.
We've
to
seen
anything.
that with a lot of the authors that we like, is that eventually they try to branch out. Now, we're not talking whoring themselves out like James Patterson.
Right.
But
you got to come up with a different character to break your normal routine.
Right.
So
we've seen it with John Sanford.
Yep.
Going off with Virgil Flowers. Now he's got Letty Davenport.
He's done a couple of other things here and there.
Right. The kid novels.
Yep.
We've seen, of
I'd
course.
like another kid novel.
They still bring him in, though.
He's still brought in from time to time in the Davenport and Flowers books. But I would love another one focused on kid.
Yeah, I would say Kellerman's probably the only one. He occasionally will go off, but it's very rare for him.
His thing now is doing a book with his son as his breakaway.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I read the first novel that Jesse Kellerman put out, and I was, oh, God, not very good. Not very good at all. But we've seen it with Robert B. Parker, multiple series there. You got the Westerns with Cole and Hitch. You've got Sonny Randall. You've got Jesse Stone. And, of course, the stalwart, the Bedrock with Spencer.
Yeah.
And those were all
top-notch
series that he started.
Yeah.
These were not series that were brought on after he passed.
Right.
He had them
These
all
were
started.
all going ahead of time.
Now he's got other people writing them, but he came up with all of these, started all those series.
Yeah.
Robert Craze, for a little while, went off with Demolition Angel.
Yeah, he's done a couple of one-offs here and there.
Right. But again, for the most part, it's...
But he doesn't do one a year.
Yeah, he's very slow when it comes to grinding out his books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he had the one with the dog.
Right.
About 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, which I still have not read yet.
It was good.
So, again, like Dave said, you've got to break the pattern once in a while. I'm sure as a writer, you've got to come up with something new, something different to keep yourself interested, keep the other characters refreshed.
Yeah. And
step away from them for a while. It
keeps your fans intrigued.
Yep.
So,
James Lee Burke does it all the time.
Yep.
As you and I scream
kind of more often than not than he should.
As you and I scream for Robichaux novels. And now we're going on, 4 years without a Robichaux novel?
Yeah. Way too long.
Yep. All right. One last segment left. TV and streaming. Moments of silence and a couple dumbasses.
Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Hello, this is Will Smith. You might know me as the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You might also know me from Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 2, and Bad Boys for Life. And now you must also know me as an Academy Award-winning actor for King Richard. Also by now, you know there are two things I do not like people talking about in my presence. Namely, my open marriage and my wife's lack of hair. Well, now there is a third thing you do not talk about in front of Will Smith. You do not talk about Sports Frenzy 2.0. My boys, Kev and Dave, will hit slap the sports world in Hollywood each and every week on Sports Frenzy 2.0 and the Weekend Edition on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, and Stitcher. Just remember, keep Sports Frenzy's name out your damn mouth.
All right. You're going to have to get out there at some point here Saturday, March the 18th of 2023, as we tape here on the 15th. You're going to have to get over the headache. You're going to have to get over the rejection from the bar last night. We've tried to give you rock and roll. We've tried to give you books and movies. Now we're going to give you TV and streaming and some dumbasses. And then once that's done, you've got to stand up on your own 2 feet, get out there, enjoy the rest of your weekend, because your Uncle Dave and Uncle Kev just can't hold your hand all the damn time, okay? But we'll do a little bit more for you.
Yep. And hey, if you have a suggestion, hit it up on the Facebook page. Let us know. This goes both ways, kids. We don't go both ways, but the communication.
Give and take, back and forth. Although, like your uncle said, not in that way. All right. Of course, we've got our shows with TV and streaming we discuss every week. For better, for worse. Sometimes we miss an episode. Sometimes we bail. You know, I've told you already, I'm done with The Last of Us.
I'm done as well. It's been a few weeks and I have no desire to go back. It lost me. It's too much like The Walking Dead for the last episode that I had watched. It did nothing for me.
And I said it's too much with the checkbox stuff. I don't need to be preached to under the guise of, oh, it's an apocalyptic thriller, end of the world stuff. Yeah, meanwhile, you're trying to showcase certain groups, certain viewpoints.
Stop being subversive.
I am also done. I am officially writing off this week as well. History of the World Part 2.
Wow. I
mentioned this last week. I'd started watching this on Hulu. I know Dave is a huge Mel Brooks fan.
It's sad that this is, as you said, was done as skits, as a series, and not just a straight out movie.
Yeah. It's 8 episodes. I got halfway through episode 4 and I said, I can't waste any more of my time with this. And Dave knows how I am.
You do not stop in the middle of anything.
I am a completist. If I made it all the way through Nomadland.
That's one of the reasons why you are no longer a completist.
I am trying to be better. I am trying to say,
if it sucks, I'm bailing.
I have less time in front of me than what I have behind me. So I am not going to waste my time with shit anymore. And I'm sorry, History of the World Part 2 on Hulu is shit. Occasional laughs, 1 or 2 an episode, but otherwise awkward, cringe-inducing humor. And again, I don't know if it's me. Maybe I never liked Mel Brooks all that much. I thought I did. I remember liking Young Frankenstein. I remember liking Blazing Saddles. I remember liking History of the World Part 1. But I don't know. Is something wrong with me? Or is it Mel Brooks?
Or is it who he's been working with?
Yeah, the cast, Ike Barinholtz, Wanda Sykes, Nick Kroll primarily, just are not funny at all.
It sounds like it's more of the cast that's not pulling things off well.
The guest stars that are brought in are actually funnier. When you get an occasional appearance by a Johnny Knoxville or a Jack Black, who aren't in every episode.
See, that's probably why it sucks, is they did it as a skit instead of having a movie to carry things forward.
Right.
shorter time span. And we liked Nick Kroll when he was in the league, but we've discussed him and other things that he's done. His solo show, The Kroll Show, was awful. Other things we've seen him in, he's not been good.
Right.
Wanda Sykes, in certain instances, in certain roles, she can be funny, but it's hit and miss. And who was the other person?
Ike Barinholtz, yeah.
You got me on who he is.
Yeah. It's just not a funny show at all. And I'm not going to waste my time. I got almost halfway through. I don't know if this is the only season, but season 1, I got 3.5 episodes in. I can't do it. I cannot waste any more of my time on this. It is that bad. So stay away, kids, from History of the World Part 2. Now, Dave actually passed me on Perry Mason.
Yep. I watched the second episode. Things heating up a little bit. It's starting to come together.
Yeah, now you and I have talked about the fact that Perry Mason, HBO, of course, great show, but it is a checkbox show.
It is.
It has changed a lot of things.
Unfortunately.
A lot of things.
It's not your Raymond Burr, Perry Mason TV show. This is more of a darker noir 30s, and it does check boxes. But it's still a really good show.
Right. And, it's... I don't like what they did with Della Street. I don't like what they did with the character of Della Street. Let's put it that way.
It's not
the Paul Drake thing, I think, is interesting, what they did with his character. But
it kind of works.
But again, it is not the original Perry Mason, Raymond Burr. It is not
the story,
anything close to that.
The stories and the acting in this can get you past the check boxes.
Yes. So we will keep you updated on Perry Mason as season 2 progresses.
2 episodes in, and it's rolling right along.
Have not watched Gotham Knights yet, but that just debuted here recently.
Yep.
Is it going to be the last redeeming DC show on the CW, or is it just going to be another waste of time?
That I will give it 1 episode to try and hook me.
We will see. Of course, the casting of Misha Barton as Harvey Dent is interesting, of course, from Supernatural, Castiel.
Yep.
But again, some of the other things I've heard about the show scream checkbox.
Oh, and checkbox.
So
we'll see. Next week, we should have the full series review of Poker Face on Peacock.
Yeah, we're going to make sure both of us are completely wrapped up and done.
I have 1 more episode to go.
Yep.
Very good.
Yep. Poker Face full season review next week here.
Yep.
On the
just
weekend
got
edition.
Through episode 9, Escape from Shit Mountain, and probably my favorite episode so far.
Yep. Of course, I mentioned that last week. That was the one with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I love. I think he's an underrated actor.
Very good in this one.
I have seen the season finale. Of course, no spoilers. It does a really nice job of wrapping things up and launching us into season 2.
Excellent.
Which, of course, we've said already renewed.
Yep. Very good. So we'll give you the full recap next week. I have started The Consultant, which you have talked about. So hopefully it will not be much longer before I can get that knocked out.
Your initial impressions?
Holy crap. What a sick, twisted, devious show this one is. I'm hooked.
Yep. Yeah, I blew through it in one weekend, man. It was fun. It was fun. I do have a review. I watched, even though...
What wrestling show?
No, shut up, Dave! You can ridicule my love of wrestling all you want.
I was just asking!
I do not bring it up every week. I do not do that. I am not going to be that guy.
I was just asking if there was something big that I didn't know
WrestleMania
happening.
is a couple weeks away.
All right.
Believe me, when we get through WrestleMania, I will have all the deets on that. 2 nights! 2 nights of fun! No. Netflix, a couple weekends ago, had live Chris Rock. His comedy special, Selective Outrage. Now, I did not watch it live, but I have watched it now, of course. You can go back and watch it on demand. I watched the hour-long version. I guess there is a extended version.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
But
I watched the hour-long version. I'll tell you what. I admire Chris Rock. I really admire him. He's not Eddie Murphy from back in the 80s. I'll say that. Nobody can be.
Well, no.
Nobody's ever going to be as funny as Eddie Murphy was in Comedian. In that one, that with his red jumpsuit on, talking about Aunt Bunny and Uncle Charlie rolling around.
He'd be all right.
And the G.I. Joe in the bathtub,
shoe throwing mother.
The greatest, funniest comedy routine of all time. But I will give Chris Rock a ton of credit. He is kind of like Eddie Murphy, the minor league version, where you can at times hear him channeling Eddie Murphy. He doesn't quite have the balls to pull off Eddie Murphy stuff, but he tries, and I give him credit for it because he will offend everybody, but at the same time, he will be sane and logical enough in explaining his viewpoint where you get it. You go, oh, yeah, he just called me a cracker, but I get it. Okay. I'm okay with it. But he turns right around and he rips on black people. And, of course, at the end of this, the big deal is at the end of this, for the last 5 minutes or so, he addresses the slap with Will Smith. Boy, he does not hold back. He does not hold back.
Good for him.
And he basically rips Jada Pinkett Smith to shreds and says, "You're hitting me when your wife is out fucking your son's best friend? And you're hitting me?" And he does not apologize. He's finally, it's almost like cathartic after a year of the waiting for this, for him to deal with this, for him to finally step up.
You know what? Fuck it. It's got to be said.
Yeah, it's not my problem. It's Will Smith's problem. Will Smith is a henpecked pussy, basically. And he's letting his wife dictate his life to him, and she's doing whatever she wants.
Whoever she wants.
Right. But, I mean, the whole hour of the version that I saw is very good, very funny. Again, he offends everybody, but at the same time, you come away not being offended because he's taking shots at everybody.
That's what comedy is.
Yeah.
You rip everything, everybody, no holds barred.
Now, the only problem I have is, again, this is me because I find it hypocritical. Stop with the N-word. Stop with the N-word. I don't need to hear the N-word every 5 seconds. You want to say it's a cultural thing, that's fine. I think the word needs to go away from the English language
It's offensive, period, hands down. It doesn't matter who says it. It should not be used.
Right. But outside of that, very funny, very, very good, solid, enjoyable hour of comedy. I give it a strong 3 frenzies.
There you go. Yeah, it's hard to find a good stand-up when you had Comedian with Eddie Murphy, and even Delirious.
A Night at the
Met with Robin Williams. God, so damn good.
Or one of those early Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah. Or George Carlin.
Yep. Hickory Dickory Dock.
Little Boy Blue.
He needed the money. I'm going to have to dig out the Dice Man and listen to those.
And we couldn't get, God rest his soul, your former neighbor, Bob. We listened to that with him one night, and he just didn't get it.
Nope.
We're dying, and he's just like, huh? But a 20-year age difference.
Yep. There you go. Generation gap.
Yep.
All right. Little bit of TV and streaming news. Now, animation is tricky. Animation's a tricky thing, especially when it comes to the superheroes. Now, your son, Nick, I know, is a big auteur when it comes to animated superhero stuff. He and I have discussed it. And
all over the animated stuff.
Now, one of the greatest animated shows of all time was the original animated Batman show.
Yes.
Going back to the 90s, I believe. One that I love. Now, I want the 60s Spider-Man. That's my number one of all time.
That by far.
But Batman from the 90s is probably number 2. Well, we talked about recently how Warner Brothers and HBO was dumping a ton of stuff. They dumped the live-action Batgirl movie.
Right.
Even though they invested tens of millions of dollars into it. One of the shows that they dumped was a new Batman animated series created by the people that were behind that 90s. Guess what? Amazon picked it up.
Good for them.
It was dumped by HBO Max. Amazon Prime says, we'll take it. Batman, Caped Crusader, will be on Amazon Prime within the next year or so. Now, me personally, I'm ecstatic about this, although I don't know if I trust it. It sounds like it's a gimmick for the direct ticket coming up on YouTube. But YouTube TV says they are going to add a 4-feed multi-view to their service. Now, I need it this weekend. I want it for March Madness. Now, PlayStation View, which I used to have for my TV, had it, and I loved it. And it's the one thing YouTube TV doesn't have. Where they promise where you get the multi-screen.
Yeah. The multi-screen. Okay.
Yeah, they will split the screen up quad screen.
Nice.
And then if you want to look at one full screen, you click on it, it fills the screen. And you go back and have the other, like if you got 4 games going on, like you will have here this weekend with NCAA basketball, 4 games going on at once. And you can click on the one that's the most engaging. Again, didn't see it today.
And then you can skip commercials as you go from one to the other.
Oh, God, yes. Because we all know commercials are taking over. NASCAR, awful with commercials. Wrestling has been awful with commercials. Wrestling! How the hell is wrestling getting inundated with commercials? It's fake!
Boy, they cut in the middle of matches?
Yes!
Oh, come on!
Yes, they do like they do with NASCAR. They shrink the match down to a little screen, and then they have a commercial going on.
No.
in the middle of the match.
That's absolutely stupid and ridiculous.
I blame AEW for that. They were the first ones to do that.
That's
and now
awful.
WWE has jumped on the bandwagon.
That is awful. Awful, awful.
Did you like Willow, the movie? Was that something you enjoyed?
It was decent.
Okay.
I mean, come on, it was Val.
Well, of course, yes. But now the new Disney Plus series, Willow, does not have Val.
No, it does not.
Well, it was such a resounding success, they've canceled it after one season. So guess what? Again, the Mouse House fails.
They ruined something else that was good.
Now, Dave and I have admitted in the past, we indulged in soap operas when we were younger.
Oh, hell yeah. I was all over General Hospital.
How about this? Days of Our Lives has been renewed for 2 seasons on Peacock, which will actually get it to 60 seasons.
Good.
Older than me!
God!
Older than me!
Holy crap.
But I'm glad to see the soap operas are still kicking. Still alive. Still holding on.
My mom's got a couple that she still watches now.
They might have taken them off normal TV, but as we say here, Peacock keeping Days of Our Lives going. Finally.
Like sands through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives.
Very nice. Very good. Monk. Remember Monk?
Mr. Monk. Yes.
Is returning
Tony
to
Shalhoub.
Peacock. They have approved a movie.
With Tony?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, Monk is returning to Peacock with a movie. Of course, we would love to see a Psych movie. Another one.
I think it is in the works.
I love these movies coming back. When do we get Burn Notice back? When do we,
Burn Notice was phenomenal.
All these old USA shows. We'd love to see them come back.
Oh, good stuff.
Yes, Monk will be returning with Tony Shalhoub. Very good news.
We need Burn Notice. I need Bruce Campbell and his alter ego Chuck Finley.
All right, we got to do quick moments of silence here. Not necessarily an author that you or I read, but in the grand scheme of things, very important author, John Jakes.
Yes.
Passed away this
North and the South.
This past week. And then, of course, controversial, but one of those cop shows that Dave and I grew up with Starsky and Hutch was Beretta.
Yep.
And because of a very controversial, very sketchy issue with a murder.
Yep, Robert Blake.
Yep. I have not seen Beretta. I don't think you can watch it anywhere.
I think
they pulled it.
Him and his cockatiel.
Keep your eye on the sparrow, Dave. Keep your eye on the sparrow.
So, I'm going to go a little off kilter, the weird music genre. Napoleon the 14th, who sang "They're Coming to Take Me Away," has passed away. A staple on the Dr. Demento show.
I was going to say, yep. I remember that. That one and Fish Heads. Fish Heads.
Roly-poly fish heads.
Oh, boy. All right. Not a lot of dumbasses. Hollywood actually focusing all their energy, I guess, on the Oscars this week. So didn't have enough time to do stupid shit. But I still got one or two. I will actually start off with one that I thought was going to be a dumbass. One of our normal contestants selections on the dumbasses of the week. Whoopi Goldberg. But I think for the second time in the last year or so, we will have to defend Whoopi Goldberg. This goes back and forth.
Say it ain't so,
It literally
Joe.
drives me nuts. Because, right, we had to defend her when she stood up for Blazing Saddles. Remember that last year?
Yeah.
In 2022, people were saying, we got to cancel Blazing Saddles.
No, you do not.
And she said, you do not take the Blazing Saddles away from me. So we stuck up for her. I think we have to stick up for her again.
Once in a while, she's sane.
Well, she apologized for using a slur, and I don't think this warrants an apology. I don't see where she did anything wrong. She apologized for she was talking about Donald Trump, of course, apologizing for the use of a Romani slur. And I was like, nobody would say what it was. He had to dig deep onto Google to find out what it was. And I'm thinking, God, what kind of heinous word did she use? Gypped.
Oh, come on!
We used that
Seriously?
when we were kids. We used that all the time when we were kids. You gypped me out of that. You gypped. Nope. That is a Romani slur.
Oh, bullshit.
And that is no longer permitted. So
Do not gyp me out of using the slang of my youth.
So I'm sticking up for Whoopi on this one.
Damn straight.
She should not be apologizing
hell no.
for using the term gypped.
No. Not
Gypsy, I guess? It's offensive to gypsies? I don't know. But yeah, we use that all the time when we were kids. You gypped me out of that. I am so tired of this.
Just stop the stupidity.
So that was originally going to be a dumbass, but is not.
No.
We're actually sticking up for Whoopi. God help
one.
us. Again, we're sticking up for Whoopi. This one is the one true dumbass of the week in the world of entertainment. I stumbled upon this. I have a website I go to where I look at movie posters.
Hollywood dumbasses. Oh. Oh, wait, that's what we should start.
Yeah, we should start that. We're trademarking it right now. Right now. Trademarked. No, but there's a website where they post movie posters.
Right.
Digitized versions of movie posters. And sometimes they will jump the gun and then you'll see, oh my God, I didn't know that was coming out. Or they'll tell you when you have dates on it. It's on Netflix. It's coming to theaters on June or July, this date, right? So I happen to be looking at my movie poster website, and they have TV stuff. So I see, oh, there's a show coming on Apple TV Plus. Now, I don't have it. I don't care.
Don't plan to get it.
But it caught my eye. It is a competition show, a music competition show.
Not another one.
It is called My Kind of Country. Okay? It is a country music competition show. But here's the one qualification. Okay? My Kind of Country on Apple TV Plus. Country music competition show. No straight white men allowed.
What? What kind of bullshit is this?
You are not allowed on the show if you are a straight white man.
That is absolute crap.
So you got to be gay.
That is offensive.
Minority. It's racist. It's racist. I can't believe nobody's calling this show out. They show all the competitors on one of the posters. No straight white men.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I do want to close on a positive note, though. But again, that's completely and totally offensive to me. I find that racist beyond belief, but nobody else will call it racist because it's okay if you discriminate against white straight men.
I thought we were trying to not discriminate against anybody.
I thought it was supposed to be about equality, right? But hey, what do I know? I'm just a straight white guy.
I don't count for anything.
Yep. Clint Eastwood, badass of the week in the world of entertainment. Close on a positive note. Even though he didn't need any help He's rich. He's good looking. He's married to a hot wife. Remember Mint Mobile? You've seen the commercials with Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds. What the hell else does he need? Well, guess what? He turned that little Mint Mobile lark of his. He just sold it to T-Mobile. $1.35 billion.
Yep, he was like a 20 or 25% shareholder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've parlayed that. There you go.
So congratulations, Ryan Reynolds.
So I think what he gets off of that deal pays for his interest in the soccer team.